Are you aware of tools that exist in your industry or that can be used for your industry to help you automate things? These words changed my life. That it was a realization that automation is to your time exactly what compounding interest is to your money. Just like compounding interest takes money and it turns it into more money, automation takes time and it turns it into more time. That is the power. This is the power of automation. And what is crazy is that we have never lived. There has never been another time in human history where there is more opportunity for readily accessible avenues to automate all different parts of our lives than right now. This is an absolute game changer. Why? Because anything you create a process for today saves you time tomorrow. If I create a process for it today, then it's going to cost me time today, but then tomorrow the process is doing it instead of me. And that is huge. It is monumental. But we often don't give ourselves the permission to do this, and we call this the permission to invest. Why? Because the way that rich people think about money is exactly the same way that multipliers think about time. Here is what is fascinating. This is so crazy. This is mind-boggling. Now, if I asked you, are you aware of systems, tools, technology, like apps, platforms? Are you aware of tools that exist in your industry that could help you automate certain parts of your business, like marketing automation or CRMs or online billing or accounting software or social media management? Like, are you aware of tools that exist in your industry or that can be used for your industry to help you automate things? I think most fairly intelligent entrepreneurs or leaders or business owners would say yes. They would go, yeah, of course, I'm aware of that because I'm in the space. I talk to people. I've heard of other people, and you go, okay, great. So you're aware of them. But then if you ask this question, you say, why haven't you implemented it yet? So you're aware of it, but why haven't you implemented it? And here's what they would say. They would almost always say one of two things. They would say, either I don't have the time or I don't have the money. And isn't it ironic that the very two reasons or excuses that we would use to justify for why we haven't invested into something is exactly the opposite of how it really is when you make the significance calculation? It is mind-blowing. It's actually the opposite. We would use this as a reason for why we could not do it, but it is actually the reason why we must do it. And this is there's such a similar parallel here to money, because money works the exact same way, right? Like, most people who invest are not people who are so wealthy they just have extra piles of cash laying around. People who don't invest, here's what they think. They think, once I make enough money to where I have excess margin, financial margin, then I will take that money and I will invest it. but that's not how it works. And almost nobody who actually invests ever invested by getting to a point where they initially had excess financial margin. The money to invest comes from not excess margin, but sacrificing something else. It's instead of going on vacation, instead of buying the nice house, instead of buying the TV, instead of getting new furniture, instead of upgrading the kitchen, instead of buying a hot tub, like instead of spending that money on something else, they forego that thing in the short term. And that's where the pocket of money comes from. That's where the margin comes from, that they then reallocate, they reappropriate, they repurpose, they invest, and it multiplies. So we can understand that concept with money. It's for pretty straightforward. That is exactly how multipliers think about time. None of us have the time to spend hours and hours setting up an automation. And yet, it's the decision to do that today which will dictate the trajectory of your future.